Nice. Excellent. All right. So we've done the tasting. We're going to get to the interview. But before we get to the interview, we've got a little break for... wine, beer, spirit, or pop culture reference. This is where I'm going to give these guys a term, and they're going to try to tell me if it's a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference. I went easy on you this week, guys. So JVB, shut your pie hole. The term this week is ullage. So is ullage a wine term, a beer term, a spirit term, or some kind of pop culture reference? John Ruyak, let's start with you tonight.
Well, I'm going to ask the question everybody asks when they're asked to go first. Eccles, how do you spell ullage?
Ullage.
Wow.
You sure it's not ullage?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Ullage, if you want.
Ullage, yeah. Ullage.
Ullage, ullage.
I'm going to say this is a wine term, and it's the spooge that builds up in an unclean wine thief.
I mean, I think you get a point just for saying spooge, honestly. I mean we can do that. So John Riek is saying a wine term. It's the spooge that builds up in a wine thief. Okay. Jeff Solomon.
You know what drives me crazy is I am almost certain that in the soon-to-be produced and released home version of this game, I believe ullage is one of the terms in it.
I think you're right.
And it kills me because I've heard this term before I ever saw it in that game. Mm-hmm. I heard the term when I played the game, and I got it wrong then. And then I went, oh, yeah, that's what it is. And I said, I will never forget this again. And then you said it, and I'm like, son of a biscuit. I don't remember. I do believe that this is a wine term, and like my mind always goes to the same place where it's either like some sort of like valve that allows for stuff to spill out, or like John says, it's some sort of like chunder bucket, like a chunder plug that you pull out.
Okay. All right. So you're saying it's also a wine term, and it's some kind of pull out chunder.
Pull out chunder plug or spit valve.
Okay.
Okay. Fa.
Yep. Okay.
Any thoughts on what ullage or?
I have a personal experience with ullage. I was just going to say because it sounds better.
It does sound a little bit more formal.
Like French, I don't know, ullage. And this is, one of those times after harvest when you rack your wine and the wine is still fermenting a little bit, even though it breaks to zero. And, break zero does never really mean anything. So you rack it off, put it in a little tank, and you put it in barrels. And, maybe I fill a barrel up to like yay much, right? And I was like, okay, it's going to be good. I put the bung in, leave from home, come back like 3 days later, and then find my floors have this red stains all over it. It's like flooded. It was like, oh my God, my barrel leaked. And I found this one barrel and it's got foam all over it. And I pulled the bung out and there you go. There's the ullage of liquid coming out. It's basically an oozing of fermenting wine.
Okay.
So we've got spooge, ooze, and chunder.
So everybody is saying that this is a wine term, and it has something to do with something very gooey, apparently.
Goopy. Yeah.
Okay. So you all get a point because this is, in fact, a wine term. I really thought Fa was going to nail it, but you all missed it. So I've got a bottle of wine here that I'm holding up, and if you can see, there's wine, and then there's some space above the wine and below the cork. This is the empty space left in a bottle and barrels as wine evaporates. In the whiskey world, I think they call this the angel share or the devil share. But in wine terms, this is the space between the left in the bottle as the wine evaporates out.
I like to call it the devil's cut.
Ullage. What was that, John?
Thanks for cutting me off. So when you bottle beer at home,
yes,
you leave space in the neck.
Yes.
In order for the residual sugars to continue ferment, release CO2 into that space and dissolve back into the beer to carbonate it.
Oh, dissolve. I see.